Hello and welcome to the Sports Babble. We're going live via YouTube tonight, Johnny.
Ooh.
I'm very
We're
nervous
YouTubers.
because we're YouTubers now, so I haven't a clue how this is going to go. So if you're tuning in to watch, thanks very much. And if you're not, then what the fuck are you? Brendan's going to be on the show. He's just behind the camera there, setting everything up. I have high up the microphone. I do indeed. Loads to talk about this week because there was no league action or no Premier League action, but there was a lot of action in Europe. Yes, there was. There's a lot of action coming up in Europe, and there's a very big FA Cup game tomorrow night. Despite this weekend sort of feeling like I don't know, I felt like there was like a weird break in the middle of the season. It wasn't an international break. Like I saw a journalist, it was Paul Hayward, saying if this feels like an international break, but it just was a bit of a stop, wasn't it? Like it was sort of nothing going
There's just
on.
not as much interest in the
No.
FA Cup now because most of the big teams are out. So
I think we're obviously both our clubs are right, so that's why we're not paying much attention to it. But even then, like some of the games, the only real game I kind of wanted to watch was Newport against Man City, and then obviously tomorrow night's.
yeah, tomorrow night's one of the good ones. Hopefully.
Yeah, but we'll chat about the FA Cup in a bit because we need to talk about what happened in Europe this week. I'm sorry, Johnny, but we will talk about the Champions League and various results and how Spurs got a brilliant result for them, and Manchester United sort of came undone against a very good PSG side. But Johnny,
Yeah.
Thursday night,
Thursday night, yeah.
sum it up. The first word comes into your head.
Shit.
What actually happened? We only saw bits of it, didn't we, Brent? We didn't watch the whole game, like. But
Arsenal had chances in the first half. Like Lacazette had two great chances. Just didn't take them. You know, Arsenal didn't really deserve to win. Let's be honest. If you watched the whole game, you would know they didn't really deserve to win. They were terrible. Didn't really create much. He's just Emery played five at the back against Bate Borisov.
yeah, that was
the
the one thing that kept getting replayed back by Arsenal fans, like on social media or journalists knows. Why did he go so defensive away from home against Bate? You'd understand if he was away at like Real Madrid, PSG or something like that there, but the fact he's away from home against Bate Borisov, not exactly a superpower in European football, and he automatically conceded that we need to sit tight here and see it first couple through a bit for the first couple of minutes. But
If the thing is, on a lot of people, there's like the game's kind of been overshadowed now by Emery against Ozil, and you know Ozil put out this statement, well, not really a statement, but he tweeted up about something that Dennis Bergkamp said a few years ago, which most Arsenal fans have probably put in their Twitter over the years. But you know, I think maybe Ozil's looking at the Pogba Mourinho situation and thinking, I can get Emery out here. But like, it's just very, very childish, and like, people like Arsenal will probably go and stuff Bate Borisov next week. It probably will happen the better bit, you know. But it's just getting so ridiculous now. This is like Arsenal fans are tweeting Emery out and Ozil out and all this crap, and I'm just like, oh my god.
what was the stat? He's been
300.
there for 313 games.
And he's missed 100.
Oof.
Isn't it mad?
Yeah, it is. Like I didn't know it was that high. I knew he'd missed a right bit, like, but
That's like a third of the games pretty much that he's been at Arsenal. He's missed.
And I'd say a lot of those have come in the last
Oh, the last
year and a
or so?
half.
Oh yeah.
which is worrying, like when you've just given him a new contract
a very well paid new contract.
and let Aaron Ramsey go. It really, I know we were talking about it last week, but it really seems like the wrong decision. Like, really seems like it should have been the other way around. But it's as if Ozil's trying to force a split, like in the camp, like, and
Yeah.
it's working with the Arsenal fans.
It seems to be from what I've seen today. Actually, apparently within the Arsenal camp, players seem to think that Emery has this fear the way he had with Neymar now. So like this is the vibe around Arsenal, that he's treating him like that because Neymar obviously was a big name, and you know Emery can't seem to handle the big names. But like if he can't handle players like Ozil or whatever, like you know he's not going to make it at Arsenal. Like,
Because you want players of that caliber.
yeah, we need
throughout
big
the
players.
squad.
It, like he's just going to have to deal with it. You know he's going to have to just put him in. Like he should have put him in on Thursday, because Arsenal needed somebody to create something. Like you know, I don't know, Xhaka and Guendouzi, and like Guendouzi's played well, but he's still 19. People are forgetting this. Like and Mkhitaryan. Why? United fans are saying that they got the worst deal with Alexis. No chance. Mkhitaryan is dreadful. dreadful footballer. I don't know. Like he needs to go as well.
That deal just was the worst deal in history for
It's
everyone
terrible.
involved. Like, just it
Terrible.
hasn't worked out
Pep
for anyone.
Guardiola.
Yeah.
Worked out for Pep Guardiola.
Clever Pep, aye.
He managed to
Pep,
trick
Pep knew what he was
and
at.
lure Jose into getting Sanchez, and
It's just Arsenal Twitter has, like I've said before, Arsenal fans are the biggest dickheads in the world. Like there's no doubt about it. They are.
we run just close like some of our fan base.
Especially on Twitter, it's just the things they come out with. Just what are you talking about? Like it seems like they just started supporting the club over the last couple of years. Like it's just got dusty and
I'm kind of glad I wasn't highly into Twitter around about the Hodgson era at Liverpool. You know, when Rafa had left and then Hodgson arrived, and then Kenny Dalglish was in for a bit, and nobody really would have given Kenny any abuse anyway. But I kind of was glad I wasn't there, because it's sort of a bit reminiscent of what's going on at Arsenal at the minute. You know, that kind of just my word would be just sort of stale.
Emre needs to sort his tactics out. Like there's no real style for Arsenal. Like you watch Arsenal play and it's like they're just doing a couple of passing drills and they're not really doing anything with the ball. It's very boring to watch. Like that Spurs game at home in December where Arsenal won 4-2, like after that Arsenal just declined. There's been no real, like I said, style of the team. Nobody really knows what they're doing. It's like 5 at the back against stupid teams like Brighton and flipping Bate Borisov. Like go out and attack them. Like,
Do you think that this is on a more a bigger scale? But do you think United and Arsenal are similar in their transitions from Ferguson and then Wenger? That you need to go through a few managers before you get to the one that's going to bring you on. Like, can you see Emery being there for years? Like, I can't.
No, if Emery doesn't sort it out this year, and like I am not one to say Emery out, I'm not at all in that camp, but it'll probably go because it'll be easier to get rid of Emery than it will be getting rid of Ozil. Like, and by the sounds of things coming out of Ozil's camp, he's not for going anymore. Like, so it's going to get real ugly, and like it is just embarrassing the way like this is Arsenal Football Club, and the manager is not willing to comment on why Ozil's not in the squads, and then Ozil's putting up all this nonsense on social media. Like, they need to sit down and get it sorted out.
Yeah, whereas, I'm just talking about, Arsenal and United have this, had this with Wenger and Ferguson, this longevity, for years and years, and people spoke about when Ferguson went that it's never going to be like that again. Whereas clubs like Man City, Liverpool in recent years, Chelsea certainly, are used to turnover of managers so much and nearly used to, there's debate whether it's happening at Chelsea again, the players being more powerful than the manager, and whether it's just going to eventually force the manager out. Like, it's a new period in football where the players have more above a say, and either the club needs to say, no, we're definitely sticking with Emery, like, and you have to get in line with them, like, or they're going to have to give in to
player
the
power.
new era, like that is player power.
I think you're right, Brandy. Yeah, like you're 100% right. Arsenal have had Arsene Wenger for 22 years. Things aren't going to change overnight. It will take a long time. Like look at United; they've only recently started to play decent football again. They've been very stale for years, and it took a club legend really to come in and sort that out. But Unai Emery is kind of splitting the fan base now already, and he's only 6 months in really.
It's dangerous,
and it's.
You wouldn't be too surprised if he wasn't there next season.
No, to be honest, the way things are going at the minute, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think for people calling for his head already when he's only had a couple of months, I just think maybe they need to take a step back and just chill out. But he does probably need to play Ozil a bit more. Like, that match the other night was a perfect opportunity to play him. He's playing Mkhitaryan, and Mkhitaryan's really offering us absolutely nothing. The only really person driving forward was again Alex Iwobi. Like,
yeah.
And we have a player there who's on 350,000 a week who's just sitting at home having a laugh playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Come on, like what's going on?
And all the news for yourselves, you've got to win Thursday night.
Just about, yeah.
Just about away to Malmo.
Yeah.
So away wins are important no matter who you're playing in Europe. Like it's
away wins are important when you haven't had an away win in all of 2019 as well. So that was really all that Chelsea fans and journalists were talking about before the game was can Chelsea get their first away win, and it seemed real significant that they actually got it, even though it didn't matter who the opposition was, even though it was against Malmo, who were actually quite decent in the second half. But yeah, important win. Like, it didn't set the world on fire at all. Like, but the big one is tomorrow night. Like, to see if Chelsea are really back in gear. Obviously, you know, a lot of the team who will be playing against United weren't playing against Malmo, so that, you know, whether the big names are going to react. Sorry talked about, you know, it was good reaction to getting absolutely slaughtered by City. But the real reaction is the players who were playing against City, whether they have a reaction against United. And at home, you would think that they maybe would, especially United now missing a couple of players.
They also got a shock. They got brought back down to earth there on Tuesday night too. Like, so
Yeah.
Yep, and we'll talk about that in 2 minutes.
So they need a reaction as well.
Yeah. No, it should be a good game. It's definitely a standout tie of the FA Cup.
I think we just talked on it briefly there at the start of the show. I think the cup kind of needs this game tomorrow night, because if it hadn't have been, say if one of those teams wasn't in it and they were playing another team, it's kind of that's going to sound unfair to fans that aren't fans of the bigger clubs, so to speak. But just for the sort of allure of the cup, like, it just would. There have been some games just been like, meh.
I know what you mean, and I think I know you're not a massive fan of the FA Cup, but I do still think that you know, the weekend, yes, it may not have been exciting, and all the Premier League teams did put out strong teams, and it's probably because they see now that there will be a big name going out tomorrow night, so there's a chance there to get to a semi-final, maybe possibly even a final. So you're seeing Wolves go with a strong team.
Crystal Palace.
You're seeing Crystal Palace go with
Even
a strong
Man City's team last night was quite strong.
Yeah, it was.
That's probably their reserves. Like.
I know,
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Like, a lot of them didn't play against Chelsea, which is a joke. Like, but I do still think it's good. Like, I was listening to the radio on the way over, and I think Newport got 2 million or something from that tie, and it'll support them for at least a year, which is, you know, what the cup's all about. Like, it really is important, even though they put up a good fight, but the result doesn't really show that. But I think you're right. Like, this tie tomorrow night, like, hope it's an exciting game, like, and obviously a home win. Like.
Well, we'll get into that soon, Brenton. Obviously, there was another team. Need to clarify your word. Another British team. Apologies, Celtic fans, that were playing. Celtic played against Valencia, and sort of, I saw a couple of people talking about them and Celtic after the game. A couple of journalists and Celtic fans were. There's a bit of a debate going on. Like, is this the end of Celtic's allure and mystique in European football? Because that's not an unbelievable Valencia side. It's not one that you'd be like, oh no, if you got them in your side, you'd be like, oh, this is gonna, like, you'd probably be wary of them, but you wouldn't be fearful of them. Like,
they're not gonna win the Europa League.
Well, no, I wouldn't have thought of it.
Can't say it. Like,
they're not a powerhouse, certainly not in Spain this season, and they just sort of steamrolled, or not steamrolled, just sort of strolled over and beat Celtic. And just think that's maybe a case now where teams aren't going to Celtic anymore. And I know it used to be if you got Celtic in the European game. Remember you got them in the playoff one year?
Yeah.
For the Champions League, and it was like, oh no, it's going to be horrific.
But destroyed you still.
Yeah, they did beat them, but you wouldn't, like, if Liverpool got them now, it wouldn't be, not in a mean or nasty way, but it wouldn't be like, alright, this is going to be deadly. You'd be like, oh, the atmosphere's going to be unreal, which could give them something, but it just doesn't seem to be.
No, I think since the Barcelona result, everything in Europe has gone downhill from them. You know, obviously that's pretty high as you're going to get, like.
Yeah.
But they haven't had a big result there at Celtic Park, and in fairness, they probably don't have the same quality of players at Celtic anymore. They're not floating around out there anymore at all. I mean, even that group of players weren't as good as the previous, in like Nakamura's time at Celtic. And they've progressively got worse in my eyes. And the gap between like the Premier League and Europe's elite is getting bigger. To the Scottish, well, the only Scottish team really now who are gonna be in Europe, like.
That's all down to the Rangers though, not competing. Like when they were competing with Rangers every year for the league, like Celtic knew they had to have decent players in to.
Yeah.
But now they've been strolling to it for the last 5 or 6 years. But now Rangers are getting some good players in for the Scottish league. Like Jermaine Defoe is a good sign. They've got Steve Davis back, who obviously is fan favourite from before.
Yeah.
And they've Kyle Lafferty. So yeah, like if you see Rangers challenging them more over the next couple of seasons for the league, Celtic might bring in better quality players, so it might improve their results in Europe.
And people spoke about Aberdeen and Kilmarnock or whatever, challenging Celtic, but they just don't have the money or the fan base that Rangers have, even around the world. Like this, the Celtic and Rangers support is the biggest that it's ever going to be in Scottish football. There's no other team that's going to replicate that. So you're right, like in that, if anyone's going to push the Scottish League on, it's going to be the two of them together, and not just Celtic, which it has been for the last,
Yeah,
five,
it's
6
not
years.
a very exciting league.
No.
Like that would be the only game we'd watch is Celtic Rangers, just for the fighting and all.
Yeah.
Just eat the scraps. That's it.
Just for the rivalry, like.
Tackles.
It's absolutely terrible league. Like I would not sit down and watch a Celtic game, even in Europe.
No, you're kidding yourself if you think that those two big teams in the Scottish League are going to challenge anywhere near the Premier League. They're at best championship level.
A team that sort of came unstuck. We mentioned them earlier, and we've mentioned them again as well in the next preview. Manchester United were a little bit humbled by a very good PSG side who were missing Neymar and Cavani. But I want to ask both of you: did that not, to you watching the game, make our PSG seem a bit better or something?
They're more solid, definitely.
Yeah.
I thought the two boys in midfield, and they've been talked about a lot, were absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Pogba hadn't a sniff the whole night, like, and he was whistled so well. But you're right in that, especially away from home as well, it probably suited PSG a wee bit more to consolidate a wee bit more and just show the other side of their game rather than the flair and the finishing that Cavani and the stardom that Neymar would bring as well. So it maybe suited them to just have Mbappe, and it didn't help the United fans absolutely getting on Di Maria's back.
Which was really weird.
He had a reaction.
What is that all about? Like I don't know. Like if Man United fans want to tell us here, why do Man United hate Di Maria so much? Like it's not like he moved and went to Liverpool or Man City. Like,
No, and I know a friend of mine was at the game and he couldn't answer. He's like, I have no idea what was going on or why. He didn't say anything in the media. He hadn't, maybe there's a thing in Manchester fan base, that United fan base, that because he didn't get on so well at Manchester United, they didn't try enough, and he was so quick to get out. He was happy not to get out. That's the only thing I was thinking of. That he literally bolted out the door the first chance he could get. Now he was going to Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, and I think it's probably down to the fact that he came to United as a big name, big signing, a world star, and didn't perform to that ability. But it's just because he didn't settle. I mean, I think one of his first days in Manchester, his house got broken into, and that unsettled him. And then it never came across onto the pitch, or he was just. I think as well, United were obviously in that transitional period of managers when Van Gaal was there when Di Maria was there, and how much of a joke was that period? It never really worked out for him. But I think United fans are probably looking at him at PSG at times and thinking, where is that Di Maria when you were at our club? But I mean, there's no reason to give him the absolute abuse that they gave him. And
he was the first half night, he looked out of sorts, and you could see Tuchel. And the commentators were pointing out that Tuchel was constantly getting on his back and shouting at him and Angel, and Tuchel even said afterwards that the first half he sort of wasn't at it. Maybe the occasion was getting to him, or those fans were sort of getting to him in a negative way for Di Maria himself. But in the second half, he just completely.
If you look at Ashley Young knocked him flat
towards the end of the first half.
Yeah, and then United losing Martial and Lingard obviously affected them as well. Martial's been on fire for them, so that obviously was a goal.
There was when I was watching the game, there's a moment. Momentum in sport is humongous, and momentum in big games, especially like one on Tuesday night there. If you get the turn of it or the run of it, then you're in. And there was a chance where United are always looking with the three players they have, Rashford, Lingard and Martial, they're always looking to hit you on the counter-attack because they're so good and they rip you to pieces. We saw what's happened at the Emirates.
Oh, yeah.
We know, like, I know if they're both all playing on next Sunday, that's a possibility for Liverpool to watch out for. And there's a chance where Lingard broke and he fired it to Martial, and Martial didn't get to the ball. And he could have got the ball. It wasn't an unreal pass, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have got it. And the ball trickled out. And then from then PSG regained possession, and I think from then PSG had their first chance, but Di Maria was offside. But it was a moment where PSG really easily, and that's nothing against Manchester United because PSG are so good, just flicked the ball around, and next thing Di Maria was in, and you could see PSG with them all like, all right, yeah, you know what? Actually, we're much better here. Like we're on much better form. As you said, the injuries didn't help because Mata and Sanchez coming on slowed everything down. Sanchez, like, how many McDonald's does that man have in a day? I know I am a little keg myself, like, but I'm not getting paid hundreds of thousands. That man is ridiculous. If that was Luke Shaw, there'd have been a whole uproar about the size of him again. Like, he came on, I was like, what has this man been doing?
He's a man that hasn't settled in Manchester either. Like, from what I've heard of people, he eats up by himself at the training ground and all. And I think there's only like
2 dinners.
Like Lingard and Mata are like one of the only couple of players he actually talks to, and also I could see Sanchez leaving United in the summer too. Like,
I could see that being cleared out because those three that we mentioned, Lingard, I think Lingard could be the one that could be upgraded on, but Lingard, Martial and Rashford, they have an understanding. And when those three are on form, United are very hard to beat, and they're brilliant going forward. Like,
would you take Sanchez back?
Don't know now. If he's going to play the way he is, no chance. But
I
I would take him on top of Mkhitaryan. Definitely, Mkhitaryan's death. I think PSG centre backs done really well against Rashford.
Yeah, I thought for the age of him, Thiago Silva, and Kimpembe, obviously the younger player, to marshal him, were superb. Like, and PSG, like, when the game started, Manchester United's press was really, really good all over PSG, but PSG were sort of just like flicking the ball over people's heads and all, and they weren't getting in. I was like, lads, wake up here, it's a big game. They're like, nah, we're alright, we're trying to nutmeg everyone. And
I think United probably just were a wee bit overconfident. I think maybe if Neymar and Cavani had played that game, it might have been a closer game because United were like, right, we have a game on here. But they kind of thought, there's only really Mbappe there. Di Maria is not really that great, you know. But I think Mbappe was, you know, great when he got on the ball. Like, just he's some footballer. Like, he's gonna be.
His pace is ridiculous.
It's
isn't it?
scary. Like, and he could have had another goal. Like, and I think they were saying in his interview after the game that he was just annoyed that he didn't score that chance.
So he said he's going to score in the home leg.
He's going to score in the home leg. Yeah. So from a 20-year-old.
Do you see Manchester United having a chance in Paris?
Yeah.
They have a chance. They've always a chance. It's a shame for the tie probably that they're going to be missing those players.
And Pogba.
Because and Pogba. Because you said they're so important to the way Solskjaer plays now. And you really could see, I mean, I've spoken to a number of United fans this week, and they knew, they had the fear when Mata especially came on, because they knew that when he came on wide, it was going to slow the whole game down. And that's not the way Manchester United are playing these days, and it just throws their whole system off. So unless, you know, odds are stacked against them, but unless he maybe brings in youngsters, Angel Gomez, and there's another couple of youth players who are playing well for United at the minute. Unless he brings them in, gives them a chance. I mean, it's how Rashford started. You know, he's thrown in when Rooney was injured, I think. The odds are stacked against them, but they've always a chance.
I think they have a chance, certainly, and if they go and get the first goal, obviously that's the important one. But I think PSG, that was such a massive win for them away from home. And I mean, they beat Barcelona 4-0, but that was at home, and then we all know what happened when they went away to the new camp. But I think this PSG said there's something different about them, and I think their whole focus this year is they have to get this Champions League. It's like it says, anytime they don't get it, everyone's like, you spend all that money and you're not getting the Champions League you're playing, and having a Farmers League, people keep calling it, and you're winning all around you, but you can't do anything in Europe. And there seemed to be a bit of a difference about it, and especially those two boys in midfield. I just think they'll shut most teams down. Like, I wouldn't, if Liverpool can get past Bayern Munich and we're drawing against PSG, I don't see us going through. Even though we beat them at Anfield, I still think they're a much better side than when we played them then. And you saw we did this when we went to Paris. They just shut us down and beat us 2-0 easily.
Liverpool are a different animal in Europe, so
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like, I never expected them to go to the final last year, and they were fantastic in the Champions League last year. So
It's a good run.
never say never.
A team that had a good result was Spurs.
Yeah.
Completely, like, none of us saw this coming, and we're having to sit through gritted teeth.
No, like, we'll just say it, Spurs did well. Spurs played very well. Vertonghen especially played very well, and they deserved to win. But you know, it's the thing with English media again. They were saying Spurs missing Harry Kane, Dele Alli, but they're forgetting all the players Dortmund were missing as well, and it just wasn't mentioned at all. Like, they have to remember that too. But that tie is probably over.
I think that tie is done.
Yeah.
Dortmund have come from behind. They came from behind to beat Malaga when Klopp was in charge. Well, they got a couple of goals that maybe they shouldn't have got that night, but they came from behind and got themselves through in the year. I think that was the year they went to the final. So again, never say never. Like, if they get a goal early at the Westfield Stadium, that place will go mental and they could get after Spurs. But a superb result for Spurs, really. Like, Pochettino, a brilliant week for Pochettino. He beats
If he wants the
Dortmund.
United job,
He beats Dortmund with Harry Winks and what do you call the other young fella in midfield? Skip, in midfield, and then Oliver Skip. Mixed team up. No Harry Kane, no Dele Alli. Vertonghen playing out of position, playing left back. Beats them 3-0. Manchester United lose to PSG, and then today Real Madrid get beat by Girona and probably concede the league now to Barcelona.
I still thought Barcelona would win the league anyway.
Yeah, so it's a brilliant week for Pochettino.
Yeah.
Maybe not such an unreal week for Spurs fans if he's going to be leaving.
Couple of doors just slightly ajar now.
Slightly ajar, yeah.
I
One,
honestly
two,
don't
three.
think he'll leave Spurs. I think he'll stay. Yeah, I think he will. He'll see like the fact they're moving into their new. They'll probably will move into that new stadium next season instead of this season. But I think he'll stay. He'll look at the squad and he'll be like, I'll probably have a better chance of winning something with Spurs than that. But realistically, like, let's be honest, like, you're not going to win squat. But yeah, there is obviously the draw of Manchester United, like, they're probably the biggest club in the world beside Real Madrid and Barcelona. So, but Pochettino, he just might think, I've built something here and I want to see it through. So,
And the other choice is Real Madrid for him, probably.
They're the two choices, which are not bad choices.
Certainly, which they don't look like they're going to win a Liga, and unless they put on a similar run to what they did last year, doesn't look like they're going to win the Champions League. I mean, Ajax had a great performance and were probably unlucky against Real Madrid.
Very, very unlucky, yeah.
And, you know, Ajax are probably one of the, you know, far out challengers for the Champions League, and if they're pushing Real Madrid like that, then what, you know, are Barcelona or PSG, Liverpool going to do to them? City. So it looks like Real Madrid will also be looking for a new manager in the summer.
One thing that won't be looking for a new manager, you'd imagine, so will be Manchester City. And they take on Schalke this week. Now, Liverpool also play a German team. We play Bayern Munich. Manchester City's tie looks a little bit easier on paper. Schalke are 14th in the league. The Germans have had, German league's played 5 league games and a cup game since the Christmas break. And Schalke have won 2, lost 2 and drawn 2. Not really in great form compared to Bayern Munich, who have won 5 and lost 1. And seem to be fine in form and have Manuel Neuer back. Great. So I think Man City will be heavy favourites for their game. I think they're on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, the one I'm more concerned about, they play Bayern Munich obviously on Tuesday night. Liverpool don't have Virgil van Dijk. Basically, the only injury I think Bayern have is maybe Robin mightn't be available. Thomas Muller's suspended. But they still have, their front three are Kingsley Coman, Lewandowski and Serge Gnabry. One that got away.
Let go. Yeah.
Who scored the other day as well in the
Yeah.
league, so,
Yeah.
But I think, you know, missing Van Dijk is absolutely massive for Liverpool. Like, it's probably, we put a poll on our Twitter page a couple of weeks ago about one-man teams. Or, you know, who would
Who's the most important player in the team? Yeah.
And Van Dijk was one of them, and it was voted pretty highly. Because I think if you look at it now, especially with Gomez being injured as well, Liverpool do not have strength and depth in that area at all. Because it looks like you said earlier, Henderson's going to be playing there.
Yeah, well, that's what sort of rumours have been, that he's going to slot in beside Matip. If Lovren's due back today, if he's not fit enough to play. I'm not too annoyed I'm annoyed Virgil van Dijk's playing, but I'd rather, if it was a choice of having Slatan Henderson in there and keeping Fabinho in midfield, I think he offers more. Fabinho is probably better than Henderson in both positions, and he offers more going forward midfield. You're probably going to see, I don't want to jinx it, but quite a decent game on Tuesday night at Anfield, because I think Liverpool will go out with a mind of, feck it, let's just try and score as many as we can here and just let Alisson deal with whatever's behind us.
Yeah, it's not ideal really when you're up against one of the prolific scorers in Europe.
Yeah, I'm not nervous or anything, but I'm actually really looking forward to it. The Champions League this year sort of taking a little bit of a back seat because of what's going on in the league. If it was different, if we were chasing fourth and then this was coming up, this would be humongous. It is already humongous, but it would be more at the forefront of my mind rather than Sunday, which is Manchester United on league points. But I'm really looking forward to it. It could be a massive night at Anfield. How do you think the game's going to go? I'm my best, I think we'll win, but I think we'd beat a team of World 11 if you'd cloned Pele, Cruyff, George Best, Beckenbauer, all these boys and brought them back as Zidane. I still think Liverpool will win it.
I wouldn't be so confident. I just think Bayern know what they're at in Europe. They've been there, done it. I know Liverpool have as well. But
more recent Bayern have been
more
there,
recently Bayern have been there, done it, and I think just with as you say, that front three is scary for me. Coman and Gnabry, the pace, and Lewandowski could finish anything. So I think if, especially for the whole tie, if Bayern get one or two, which I think that with that weakened Liverpool defence they could do. Their
midfield as well is Thiago Alcantara, James Rodriguez, and Leon Goretzka. That is absolutely ridiculous. There's no need for that good of a side to be, and tomorrow night they could end up 9 points behind Borussia Dortmund. Because when Liverpool got the draw, do you remember texting me saying you'd be happy enough for that? I'd fancy you, because we were going very well at the time, and Bayern Munich were sort of looked like they were imploding, and then of course they found form again as the tie looms, and they seem to be kicking on. It's going to be very interesting. If we had Virgil van Dijk, I would be much more confident, and I'd be interested to see how Van Dijk against Lewandowski. That'd be unreal. How do you think it's going to go?
I don't think Bayern will be comfortable at all. It's Liverpool at Anfield on Champions League now, so probably be a high scoring match. I think Liverpool will probably edge it by a goal and bring it back to the Allianz Arena, and then it'll be a good game there. I don't think Bayern Munich will run away with it at all.
I think the last, I'm not sure, is it 5 or 6 teams that have put Bayern out and went on to the final?
That sounds about right.
I think that's right, isn't it? Atletico Madrid and Real have done it, and
we haven't done it. They keep stopping us by 5-1, so we've never went on to the final after beating Bayern. So.
Well, I hope we're not stopped 5-1 or this will be horrendous next Sunday night.
But things can change so quickly in football. Like as you said about you fancy Liverpool when the draw was made, and then when you speak about United and PSG as well. PSG, I'm sure, when the draw was made, thought handy. But then United found form over Christmas.
And last week we said ourselves, fancy United to get something, and what PSG turned up. And
so even, injuries and form, say there's a big win, Liverpool have a big win against United. If they get beat by Bayern, over those 2 weeks, things can change, and Liverpool could be in great form going to the Allianz Arena. So you never know these days, especially those big nights in Europe. Like there's always one result, in this stage of the competition that there's a big overturned score, Dortmund, at some stage. So that's why it's the best. It hands down the best competition in the world.
The oldest competition in the world, football competition in the world, is on tomorrow night, as we said at the start of the show. The biggest game, probably the second or biggest game of the whole FA Cup so far. United Arsenal's big game too, I'll ask John. It's not fair to ask you first, and then we'll get into it. Just how do you see it going tomorrow night?
It really depends, because obviously Chelsea played Man City last week and got absolutely destroyed, and United played PSG. So it really depends what teams are played. Chelsea probably will play their full strength team.
Yeah. Who's it more important for? Going off the back of what happens at Old Trafford.
I'll say Chelsea.
You'd say Chelsea still?
Yeah.
because of the nature of the Man City defeat.
United are probably in a better position to get in the Champions League, and that's kind of what most people want these days, the Champions League instead of trophies. So I'd say Chelsea are still in the Europa League and probably favourites to win it. Chelsea and Napoli be the only team I had fear in the Europa League this year, so yeah, I'd say Chelsea probably.
And Bata Borisov.
It's probably because Chelsea are at home, you know, they'll probably want to go on and do it in front of their own fans, like, but United need a response from midweek, like, so.
What about you?
I think it'll be a good game. Like as Johnny said, like teams will dictate and player form will dictate as well. Like if Hazard's on form, he does show up against United. In the final last year, he was brilliant. Like he scored the penalty, but apart from that, they usually assign somebody to Hazard. It's usually her, and he usually can't deal with it. Like.
One game he got,
I think one game,
lauded as, not this is me having to go at Manchester United, but he was lauded as like the best defensive midfielder ever of all time because he chased Hazard around the pitch to thing, which was a good tactic, but it's only managed to work once.
Yeah, and then it didn't work after that. Like, and then he got sent off in the FA Cup against Hazard because he fouled him about 16 or 17 times. So yeah, and I think I would slightly, not being biased, I would slightly give the edge to Chelsea. Being at home, United missing those players, I just think it tips in their favour a wee bit.
I think it is more important to Chelsea, and I think that's why it'll give Chelsea the edge. I think Manchester United will probably look at this game. They play Chelsea, then they play us at home, and then they have the Manchester Derby, but they also have the second leg of Paris that we've talked about in Paris, and they'll probably look at it like, one of these ones that we have to lose. It's probably not that they're going to go and lose a game, but they're probably going to be the least concerned about losing this one.
Yeah.
I still think they'll be massively up for it, and I think it'll be a cracking game tomorrow night. I'm actually looking forward to an FA Cup game. It doesn't involve.
I think you'll see Lukaku starting tomorrow night.
I think they have to. I think they have to.
Instead of Rashford, like there'll probably be a couple of changes from Man United. Chelsea.
I think they'll still start Rashford.
Yeah, well, they might play them both.
Yeah.
It's a start of a really big week for Chelsea because. And probably the United game then becomes more important because if they get a good start, then they have Malmo on Thursday night, the return leg, and the cup final on Sunday.
Flip that's right.
So it's a
big week for everyone,
season,
isn't it? It's a big week in total. Like it was like you have cup final and
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. There's big games.
I think there's games on every day now, right up until sometime in March, isn't it? There's games on every night.
Yeah, well, outside of football, there's the NBA All-Star game tonight. If anyone wants to stay up till 1 in the morning,
I'm there.
I will.
I don't care about work. I'm doing it.
I'm off tomorrow.
So tomorrow night, looking forward to it.
Yeah, should be good.
Interesting. We'll get your thoughts on social media afterwards tomorrow night then. The most important result, obviously, of the weekend was Real Oviedo beat Alcaron. There you go, lads. Just cover your faces out of that.
Thank you.
No bother. They beat Alcaron 1-0 last night, and even better, I watched the whole game when they won. Which hasn't happened for a while.
You're not the scud?
I'm not the scud. So I'll watch Tuesday night and I'll come on Tuesday night and let you know how it went on. We're beat 19-0 by Bayern Munich. So I watched the whole match. It wasn't a fantastic game. Good atmosphere though at the Carlos Tartier, but there was hardly any chances. Alcaron had one chance in the first half, was blazed over, and Oviedo had two in the second half. Probably more chances. You wouldn't really classify them chances, sort of like half-arsed attempts. But Johansson should have scored in the 78th minute. And then almost a carbon copy, but the ball was crossing from a little bit deeper. Torreira scored, who's an ex-Chelsea player. Yeah, he was at Chelsea as a youth player and played in like pre-season games and played a lot of games for the youth team, but never got playing for the first team.
Shock.
And now he's playing.
Bit of quality though.
He's playing centre midfield for Oviedo and he scored a massive goal last night because he kept us in the playoffs for another week. Now we're 6th. Because Cadiz won, and we play Albacete Saturday coming, and they're top of the league. We play them away from home, so that'll be tight. But after that, we'll be game against Lugo, who are sort of struggling. So if we can get through that, if we can get 3 points from either of those two games and keep us going, then I think we have a chance. But they've really started. I don't want to jinx them like touch wood, but they've really started to hit form this time of the season instead of usually what Oviedo have done the last couple of seasons. If they've had good form at the start of the season and then just completely blown it to bits.
A bit like Arsenal.
Yeah, or like Liverpool when they've been trying to do things in the league and just falling off track at the wrong time and missed out in playoffs. So
Hopefully then one of our teams will have a race for promotion, like, which we don't really have in this show, like, so that'll be something different.
yeah, and I absolutely love them to get into the La Liga because I get to see more of the games easier, and it would give me a chance as a fan to go to a lot more games. It probably will be the away games because there's like 30 teams playing Madrid.
Yeah.
And you can go to them, stuff like Rayo Vallecano, get half, I think, are in Madrid as well, aren't
Yeah.
they? And if you're challenging for Champions League, there could be 3 Madrid teams in Champions League next year. And even if you, Betis or Seville, you can go to Seville and watch a game. So, fingers crossed. Plus, the club's been crying out for it since the last in La Liga and what they've been through, so it'll be massive. But, yeah, I think that's sort of it. Then he's just, to rub salt in Liverpool's win, did any see Nabil Fekir's goal on Friday night?
No.
Oh my goodness. If you haven't seen it, I just want to talk about this because it's one of the best goals I've seen all season. Do you remember Maxi Rodriguez's goal
Yeah.
against Mexico?
Yeah.
The ball's fired in from the same side to Maxi Fekir. He chests it up in the air, but then he kills it with his left foot. And then he rolls it with his studs and he puts it in the top corner. I couldn't stop laughing and then started to cry because we could do with him on Tuesday night and we don't have him. And he's probably going to end up going to Chelsea for about 100 million in the summer instead of Liverpool. But it was a brilliant
That
goal.
or Icardi, which is another issue.
Yes, just wanted to ask you in this. Mauro Icardi's a bit of a mentalist. He fell out
But
with his
that-
sister last night on Twitter.
Mauro Icardi is a mentalist, but Chelsea love a mentalist up front. Like,
Yeah, that's very true.
you know,
Scumbags. Diego Costa was a scumbag. But Rob Holding having the back pocket of the FA Cup final, he did. And he called him a psycho. He did. Go on, Rob. Go on.
I love Diego Costa, sorry, John.
He's a
yeah.
scumbag.
But yeah, I mean, he'd be a great addition. I saw as well, United were linked with him today. If he goes in the summer, that'll be one to watch, like because it's a big plus to
Whoever he
joins.
goes to, yeah, that's catapults him.
Probably Real Madrid, but
Yeah, it's probably Man City. Probably Man City. With Pep.
Chelsea have blown enough money on stupid strikers, let's be honest. Like.
Yeah. Well, you'd take him in Arsenal though, wouldn't you? Even if he was mental.
I like our strikers, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't take him over Laka or Aubameyang, so I'm happy enough. We need defenders, never mind strikers. We always sort out one area of the pitch, then by the time they sort it out, like Aubameyang and Lacazette have been like 10 years retired by the time Arsenal sorted out the defence, and everyone have nobody to score goals. That's just the way Arsenal do things.
It's a vicious circle.
It is a vicious circle. Like, we thought we sorted our goalkeeper out and we got Czech, and how much banter was that?
Actually, really a lot of banter.
yeah, we
You
love
could have
it.
had Loris Karius. Don't ever complain to me about a goalkeeper. Sorry, Loris, but
Here, we had Almunia for years.
that'll do us this week. Thanks for joining. We've tried to go live here on YouTube, so F knows if it's worked or not. Like we have no idea. But yeah, we're gonna try keep going live sort of on YouTube and then get it sorted on our Twitter as well because we're conscious that we're just honing everything into one channel. But Brent, thanks for coming on the show. Johnny, thanks for joining us and letting off steam. Hopefully he's winning Thursday night or this will
Way
be
better.
chaos on Sunday. And see you again next week, same time, 8 o'clock.